Hello, reptile entrepreneurs. This is your host, Bill Strand, and today we're going to be doing an introduction to TikTok with a special emphasis for people who are used to Instagram, making that transition to TikTok and learning short form video. With me today is Lissa from Lissa's Lizards. Lissa started on Instagram and then added on TikTok, and she has found success on both platforms. And so she's an ideal person to bring on to first give us an introduction to TikTok, but also to help us who are used to Instagram do a transition to TikTok. Please join me in welcoming Lissa from Lissa's Lizards to the Reptile Entrepreneur Podcast. Hello, reptile entrepreneurs. For all of you who have been intimidated by that TikTok beast, well, this episode is for you, and I am very happy to bring on Lissa from Lissa's Lizards. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Now, you are the perfect one to have on this show because you have done very well on Instagram, and then you made a transition to TikTok and did very well.
Good. Thank you. It was definitely intimidating.
Well, then perfect. We're going to get to that. But let's go ahead and give an overview of what is Lissa's Lizards.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually started out my journey in the reptile hobby as Barney the Cam, which was my panther chameleon right back here behind me. So I started out that way and then eventually, started growing in the hobby as one does and starts branching off into different species. And now I have, I think, 13 different species. So I, obviously had to change my username to be something else. And so now here I am with Lissa's Lizards. And I like to think of myself as a content creator. I love the creativity of just creating content and, making it as educational and helpful, but also entertaining as possible. So that is kind of the gist of what I do.
Okay. Now I see you started on Instagram. And one thing I noticed about that when I was checking your account is that your Instagram started off deliberately with an aesthetic. So it means you actually put some thought into your Instagram account.
Yes.
What were your goals in starting that account?
Honestly, I fell in love with panther chameleons. I had always really liked reptiles, but I kind of, going through college and stuff, I kind of almost forgot about my love of the hobby, and then it kind of got reignited with panther chameleons. So originally when I got my panther chameleon Barney, I just really wanted to share him, and I love the aesthetics of things. I mean, I'm very particular about my reptile room and how it looks and stuff like that. I'm a very creative individual. So for me, it was just, I wanted to create beautiful imagery of an animal that I loved. And I hoped that would resonate with people. And it did. So that's kind of where it started. But it did kind of, eventually have to evolve.
Well, how was it going those first few years?
Honestly, the first couple of years, I probably would say I reached about 1,000 followers within that first year. But then it became increasingly more difficult, as I'm sure a lot of people see on Instagram. It's the growth quality was really stagnant there for a while. I did build my way up to about 3,000 followers, but I got stuck at I think 3,200 followers for a good 2 years. And I was like,
wow,
what is going on? So that's where it kind of became more difficult on Instagram for me.
Well, in I believe it was 2021, you switched over to TikTok. Okay, not switched over. You added TikTok to your outreach. What went into that?
Honestly, I had been stalking TikTok privately on my own for about a year. I am your typical millennial and definitely was very hesitant about the platform. I was, very much had the mindset of who wants to be on TikTok with a bunch of dancing teenagers, you know what I mean? But as I started kind of, lovingly said, creeping on the TikTok platform, I started to realize, it's growing into something that's not just dancing kids. It's, turning into a much more well-established platform, and it's just generating so many different uses, different people, different generations. It's just really starting to grow like crazy. And I started noticing that in 2020. So in 2021, I think it was in the first week of January, I posted my first TikTok and it got 40 something thousand views in like 2 days.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong, being an adult and living on your own is pretty great. The only problem is that I now have access to adult money, which means I can buy whatever I want, which means I end up buying shit like this and having zero regrets about it.
And I was completely shell shocked by that because of how stagnant Instagram had been. And from the moment that I posted that first TikTok, I was like, this is where it's at. This is where the growth is. This is where the people are. This is where the people are moving. And I just saw an exponential opportunity on TikTok that I simply wasn't seeing on Instagram at that time. So from just that first TikTok, it really just pushed me to focus on that platform a little bit more.
All right. Well, that is quite the transition going from still images to short form video. How was that transition?
It was a little difficult. I do YouTube as well, but not nearly as often or as active. And personally, that's because I have a very busy life, so I don't always have time to edit long form video content. That has always been a struggle for me. So I was very enticed by how easy TikTok makes it to edit and create videos quickly within the same platform. You don't even have to have an external software platform. So for me, that was really enticing, but it definitely was scary because putting my face out there on video, not just photos, was a little bit intimidating. That was, it took me a while to get comfortable. And if you go far enough back on my platform, you can definitely see that some of my first videos, I was very nervous and very unsure and, was hesitant. But now I'm just, I don't care as much.
It's not that complicated. There's a Stegosaurus, there's a T-Rex, and then that's a Velociraptor.
You're active on both Instagram and TikTok. Why maintain both?
Honestly, I think both serve slightly different purposes. I think the platforms are both still growing. I think just as a whole, Instagram as a company and Facebook as a company are desperate to keep up with what TikTok is doing for places. So just from a strategic standpoint, that is a really interesting way of looking at how to curate your content for both platforms. Because as of right now, for the algorithm, Instagram is copying everything TikTok is doing. They are just trying to keep up. That's all they're doing. So if you
know it?
It's crazy. I mean, they just are, they're trying to keep up. And right now, video is king. Video is where everything is going towards. And to be honest, I don't even post photos anymore because they don't perform. Instagram is no longer pushing still imagery as a content piece. They're only pushing video content. So honestly, people with businesses, that's really where they should focus, is on short form and long form video content.
So what do you think what's the difference, the different value proposition of Instagram versus TikTok?
I think Instagram as a whole I think we're moving towards more generations being on TikTok, but I do think that Instagram will, for a long time, remain the main platform for millennials and all the, Gen X and all the generations above Gen Z. I think more millennials and Gen Xers are moving towards TikTok, but it's a slower progression. So I think just from a standpoint of trying to reach as many people as you can, I think Instagram serves its purpose from the age groups that are on Instagram, and TikTok serves its purpose from more of a brand awareness standpoint because you're able to reach thousands upon thousands more. So if you can essentially, in my opinion, I think focusing on TikTok helps you with your other platforms because you can utilize some of the content from TikTok on your Instagram Reels or on your Instagram stories, because TikTok really To see major growth on TikTok, you really need to be posting at least 1 to 3 times a day. And honestly, sometimes that's not even enough. But the
Wow.
good thing about that is that you have so much content. So you can use that on Instagram and just continue to gain different age group followings and reach a different audience on Instagram with similar content, if that makes sense. So I think the value in both is simply just reaching different kinds of people and different age groups of people.
So how do you decide how to split your time between the two, or do you just make stuff for TikTok and take what you can and put it on Instagram?
It's hard. And I will say I have definitely struggled with splitting my time. I have absolutely prioritized TikTok just because that is where I see most of the benefit for me. Instagram is a little bit harder, but I do try to simply just utilize a lot of my content from TikTok over on my Instagram Reels. But what I think Instagram does well is the conversations with your community that you're looking to grow. I think Instagram provides a better avenue for communication through stories, DMs, messages, like all of that. Whereas, TikTok will not allow you to have conversations with people unless you're both following each other. So that is very, very difficult to have conversations with your following on TikTok unless it's in the comments. But they also limit the character count in your comments. So that also makes it more difficult. So I think Instagram serves a really good purpose of creating conversation with your community, whereas TikTok is more for awareness and reach, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you see this transition? Instagram is obviously trying to be TikTok, at least take the best parts of TikTok. It doesn't want to let TikTok get ahead, which too late. But
yeah, exactly.
how do you see this going on Instagram? And first, I'll give the audience a little background here. So Instagram started off as a image sharing app, and then TikTok walked into the cafeteria and took Instagram's lunch. And now Instagram is chasing after TikTok and saying, all right, now we're a video sharing app platform, and starting to trying to get in all of those short form video fans. And those of us who were on Instagram, built our entire account on still images, have now been given our notice that we are now a video sharing app. And so it's like, okay, I guess we got to be retrained. How do you see this transition going?
Honestly, I'm so excited to kind of see where it's going because it's crazy. At least for me, one of the hardest transitions for me as a creator was realizing that one of the best ways to grow on TikTok is being extremely genuine and not being overly curated. And that was something that Instagram was just the king of. I mean, Instagram forever was curated content. Nothing was real. Yeah. It was all highly edited, and I think that was something that people were desperately wanting to get away from as viewers, which is the purpose that TikTok served. So I think that as a creator is one of the hardest transitions to make, is learning or unlearning how to care so much about how everything looks. And that's something that I struggle with still. I have to remind myself, whatever, it's fine. Good is good enough. It doesn't have to be highly curated. But from the transition for the companies for Instagram and TikTok, I think that transition, I don't think Instagram's going to be able to keep up. I don't. I think eventually Instagram, I think it'll serve its purpose in a sense that, it's going to exist. It's not going anywhere. But I think where Instagram is probably going to win is by being a shopping platform, which is what they're moving towards. They're moving towards, creators can now create shops on their profiles. Yeah. And that is what they're pushing. And they're pushing sales. I honestly see Instagram kind of turning into its own little version of Amazon. That seems to be the direction it's going, in my opinion. And I think TikTok is unique in the entertainment and education that they provide in short snippets. And I think that is where TikTok is going to focus. I do think eventually TikTok is going to dive more into that shoppable platform type thing. And you're already seeing some of that a little bit just with the ads and stuff that they've brought in the last year or so. But the way I see it, I kind of see that being the separation between the two over time, is that Instagram will become more of a shopping platform, whereas TikTok will be a little bit more like educational and entertaining, which it already is.
Really? Tell me about being educational.
I think one of my favorite things about TikTok is the vast amount of information that you can learn being on there for a short amount of time. As soon as the algorithm starts to pick up on your interests, you are going to get served all kinds of things that you never thought would, whether it be random home hacks or how to do DIYs or just the most random stuff. I even get people commenting on my stuff all the time that tell me I have absolutely no interest in owning a reptile. None. I never want to get a reptile. Snakes terrify me. Don't come near me with that thing. But I love to watch them from afar on your videos. And I think that's very telling of the type of people who are on TikTok. I think people out there just are desperate to learn new things. And I think that's something that's interesting in the generations beneath us. They're very curious. And I think that is a big part of TikTok, is that you can learn stuff, but you have to be careful because you can learn wrong information. There is a ton of wrong, bad education out there. So you do have to, if you're a viewer absorbing that information, you do have to be cautious about that. That's for sure.
All right, well, let's go and let's do an introduction to TikTok. And first, how would you describe TikTok to someone new to social media?
Oh gosh, I would explain it as just a kaleidoscope of information and experiences and things that you would not expect to just open up an app and get served this kind of stuff. It's not like Instagram where, you see who you follow and you see stuff that you're interested in kind of, but TikTok is just going to send you the most random information. And I think that is one way of describing it, is it's simply an app that really opens up the world to becoming aware of all kinds of different things that are outside of the bubble that you live in. Okay. I think it's a doorway to a lot of interesting things.
All right, then let's say to an influencer who's trying to decide whether they want to put their home base on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, how would you describe TikTok to an influencer?
Oh gosh. I think describing TikTok to an influencer is it's the best way to reach mass amounts of people. It simply is. I don't think that Instagram is capable of that wide reach anymore. So if somebody is an influencer or a content creator and they are looking to reach new audiences, reach new people, and grow, I don't think there's any other platform that does it better than TikTok, honestly.
Yeah, I'm going to jog off on a little bit of a tangent here. So TikTok and Instagram are, they're between 1 billion and 2 billion active accounts. What would your perspective be on why you can get organic reach on TikTok, but it's so stagnant on Instagram?
Honestly, I think it comes down to the fact that the TikTok algorithm is better. And I don't necessarily know enough about, how they've built that, obviously. But I just think the TikTok algorithm just pushes content to more people. And I don't think that Instagram has gotten there yet. I think Instagram still, it just quite hasn't figured out how to, I think they push content to a lot of other people that either already follow you or, you have some sort of connection to. But I think something about the TikTok algorithm pushes it out to people who may not even know you've existed. Like, I feel like a lot of the stuff that I see on Instagram is companies I already know of, people I already know of, brands I already know of, things like that. You don't see a lot of new on Instagram. Whereas TikTok, every day I'm getting served some new creator, some new person, some new video.
All right. And then we go to the third perspective. And I know I'm really putting some challenging questions in here, but they're actually what I want to know personally. So that's, so TikTok for a business. So if I'm a business in the reptile industry, a startup, say, and I'm saying, do I need to be on TikTok? What can TikTok do for me? What would you say for that perspective?
I think as a business, TikTok is one of the best ways to spread awareness about what you're doing, what you're selling, what your products are. I don't necessarily think it's the best way to convert your followers to be customers. I think it is the best way to get attention and get awareness. But I think where you would really be able to convert people is by pushing them over to Instagram or to your website. I think that's the best way to direct them to that. But I think for business owners or, breeders or things like that in the reptile hobby, I think the best way to utilize TikTok is almost as a Q&A platform. I have really learned in the last probably 6 months or so, the majority of my videos that do well are videos that I have responded to comments with a video on a previously well-performing video. It's a snowball effect. If you have one video that does well, pick a question in your comments that makes sense for your business goals and answer it with a video. And if, let's just use the example as a breeder, somebody selling animals. You have so much content available to you with all the animals that you have. So start out your TikTok experience sharing those animals, sharing that content that you have, whether it be funny, whether it be educational, anything like that. And you will get questions. You will get questions, no doubt about it. People will ask you questions about these animals. And I think a really great way for, say, a breeder would be to, talk about their care, talk about their natural environment, talk about where these animals come from, talk about, answer questions that people want to know about, well, if I'm interested in getting this animal, what do I need to have set up? Drive them to your website where you have a care sheet. Give a 1 minute, video where you're saying, this is a brief, little summary of how I take care of my animals, but there are tons of other ways that you can do it. You can go big, with your enclosure, you can do different stuff, this and that, but here's the care sheet for the basics on my website, and things like that. I think TikTok can provide a resource for your customers and for people who are just interested, and showing them that you care about the animal's well-being and how they're cared for by providing things like care sheets and answering questions about their care and things like that goes a long way with people who want to know those answers. And so for me, at least lately, a lot of my content on TikTok has been answering questions that people want to know. And that also builds a sense of trust with your community that they'll get a response, they'll get a good answer from somebody that they, deem as, credible. And that will help them in their hobby, which I think is really important, just getting people connected to the hobby. But it'll also gain trust from your customers.
Now, TikTok kind of colors outside the box with this, but they actually on your profile have a link to your Instagram account. How many of your TikTok followers would go to your Instagram?
Honestly, not much. I have I'm getting really close to about 165,000 followers on TikTok. And on Instagram, I have about 15,000, which is amazing. It's great. But I don't think that very many of my Instagram followers came from TikTok, to be completely honest. I think a lot of when my Instagram, I mentioned earlier that my Instagram had really gone stagnant at about like 3,000 followers. That changed when I started posting my TikToks as Instagram Reels. That drastically changed the game. And that was
Sure.
when I realized that Instagram is prioritizing video content in their algorithm. So honestly, I don't think anybody should really be only posting static imagery on Instagram anymore. I think, you really kind of have to follow what
Yeah.
TikTok is doing, which is the hard part.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's definitely
Okay.
hard to get TikTok followers to convert to Instagram. So that's another
Okay.
reason, you asked earlier why I do both. It's because I don't think that a whole lot of my TikTok followers move over to Instagram. I think they're two
Uh-huh.
completely different followings.
Okay. All right. So I have been working with talking about a social media strategy structure within the Reptile Entrepreneur podcast world of outreach, conversion, and retention. And so I'd like to talk about TikTok in terms of those three parameters. So, as far as outreach, what are the tools of outreach in TikTok?
The tools of outreach, I would just say, are things like that snowball effect. Like they have the ability to respond to comments with video. Instagram has that now too. That's a newer feature on Instagram. And, again, copying TikTok. But I think that is an amazing tool that, I think that allows people to just get more engaged because you're engaging with them. And I think that's, again, kind of going back to the fact that Instagram is so curated. I think TikTok, carrying it around on selfie mode alone makes your community feel like they're in your room with you. It makes them, feel like they're a part of what you're doing, and it brings them along on the journey that you're on. And I think that alone is something that's very different about TikTok. But for outreach, honestly, just the TikTok algorithm is the outreach strategy. The TikTok
Okay.
algorithm is going to push your content, as long as you are creating quality content that answers questions that people have or provides interesting and entertaining content.
Okay. And what are the conversion points? Where in the software algorithm or the software are you able to actually hit a follow button?
That's one of the cool things about TikTok is that it's right there on that very first video. It's they literally give you the opportunity to follow somebody without even ever going to their profile. I see that all the time. So I think that's something that's interesting about TikTok, and I think Reels might be doing that as well on Instagram, but TikTok really just gives you the ability, and people are very much serial followers on TikTok. People will just see a cool video and follow. Whereas
Okay.
Instagram, I feel like you have to try a little harder to get the follow, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Uh, TikTok is known for giving you a feed where you just scroll endlessly through all these different videos from a wide range of subjects, and it's absolutely addicting. And I am sure, hours of a night can go into a black hole.
Like that. So fast.
How often do you think those people scrolling through actually stop, go to your profile, and then scroll through your videos?
I would say pretty often. I think it's pretty clear when you're scrolling through if somebody just, posted a one-off video of something funny that they saw walking down the street the other day, and somebody who is a content creator. And I think that comes along with just the basics of lighting in your video, the way you're talking to people, the way you present yourself. I think those three things really kind of show a difference in a video that you're watching of, oh, this is somebody who posts all the time. This is somebody who does this a lot, and they have, intentions behind what they're posting. Like if somebody scrolls across my content talking about, one of my pets, it's very clear, oh, she posts a lot and she posts, answering questions about these animals. That's cool. I want to follow because I want to learn more. Whereas if you're just posting something without a whole lot of context, or without, a call to action, a CTA. If you're doing that and, you're just posting a random dog that you saw on the street, people are less likely to follow you for that because it feels like a one-off. So I always try to, in my videos, kind of point back to a previous video or, point to, I'll say something along the lines of, oh, I actually have a video about snake handling on my YouTube if you're interested in that. And, that helps drive people to, convert to see what you're about. And if you're a business or a breeder or something like that, that kind of stuff, driving to your website should be part of your content strategy on TikTok. At the end of everything, you should kind of say something along the lines of, what other questions do you have? Or, if you want more information, go to my website or something like that. It's kind of similar to how in YouTube, people are always at the end of every video and at the beginning of every video, it's hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's kind of the same thing. You have to do a little bit of driving to other platforms.
Okay. And what tools are available on TikTok to deepen the relationship between you and their followers?
Honestly, not that much. I mean, aside from the being able to respond to comments with videos, I think that's a huge one. But TikTok doesn't do a great job of that, to be totally honest. I think they do a good job of, like I said, TikTok is less curated. It's more, selfie mode moving around with you, whereas Instagram tends to be a little bit more curated. But so it does a good job of getting that almost one-on-one feeling in the videos, just because that's pretty typical on TikTok. But I don't think that's necessarily a tool that they offer. I think they limit you a lot with that, which I think is one of the benefits of, again, trying to move people over to Instagram or YouTube, where, they have the community tab, things like that. I don't necessarily think TikTok does a fabulous job in building a community because they limit your comments on your character count. They limit whether your followers are, allowed to message you unless you follow them back, which you don't always want to do as a content creator or as a business. So I think I think TikTok, that is where TikTok is limited, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting that this is the point where Instagram just copying everybody ends up being a collection of pretty good features, like the stories.
It is. And TikTok is actually now stealing stories from Instagram, which I find interesting. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I think that it's unavoidable that TikTok's going to want to become a little bit more substantial. And so they're going to be stealing stuff from Instagram. And they're talking about allowing 10-minute video, so they're going to start stealing from YouTube.
Crazy.
So,
I read that the other day. I was just mind blown by that.
Yeah, we may end up with 2 or 3 social media platforms trying to be everything to everybody.
I know. It's crazy.
All right. We have a special class of people that are in our audience listening to us right now. And those are our poor Instagram accounts that have built up tens of thousands of followers on still images and now have been given not eviction notices, but they've been given notices of imminent domain. Okay. We're now taking over.
It's going the way of Facebook.
Let's talk about transition strategies. What can somebody, and right now this is an open-ended question because there really isn't an answer other than we just got to do it. But let's just talk about ways that people who have built their life on still images can figure out how to transition to short form video.
Honestly, the number one way is to start out just being a viewer. Get off of Instagram for a little while, or focus on, watching Instagram reels instead of just scrolling through your feed. But I think being on TikTok as a viewer, just create your account, get on there, start searching things that are, relevant to your business. And the Instagram algorithm is going to start serving you stuff that, is relevant to you. And I think that is where you will start to learn and pick up on. I was on TikTok for probably a good 8 or 9 months before I even considered posting my own video. So I was just scrolling and was just picking up on, oh, that sound is trending. I've heard it like 3 times in the last 30 minutes that I've been scrolling. Interesting. That sound is doing really well right now. Or, just different things like that, picking up on the trends, starting to understand how to do, I also think it's really interesting. There's a ton of content creators on TikTok who are literally, their platform is to teach people how to succeed on TikTok. Follow those people, take up their tips, start learning from them, and start to develop where you think you could succeed in your content. I think just being an observer on TikTok for a month or two is the best way to learn how to start and how to formulate that strategy for what you think your business has to offer people on TikTok, whether it's just entertainment, whether it's selling a product, whether it's, an educational play, you really want to educate people on, care or something like that. You kind of need to be an observer first before you can even jump into what you're doing. You really want to pick up on the trends, the sounds, how to film, maybe even just, create a fake TikTok first to just give it a go at first. You definitely want to have a little bit of a trial period for yourself and just formulate a little bit of a strategy first, I think.
So how important is the dancing and lip syncing to getting views?
Honestly, I think it's disappearing. I really, really do. I hardly ever, and granted, maybe it's because I'm in the reptile hobby, I'm not a teenage girl on TikTok, but I think I rarely see the dancing and things like that anymore. I think it really comes down to the sounds that are trending and how you can apply that to your audience and your niche and whatever it is that is your motive for being on the platform. I think I will all the time, this is probably actually a really good tip, is to go on TikTok as an observer. And if I hear a sound that is trending, I will sit there, watch that video a couple more times, think about it for maybe 2 or 3 minutes and think, okay, how can I apply this to the reptile hobby? How can I, take this trend of, when my dad does this stupid thing, something like that. How can I apply that to when my lizard does this stupid thing, something like that. I think that is the best way to do it. And what I do immediately from there is I click on the sound in the bottom right-hand corner and I immediately go to make a video using that sound. And I will just cover my lens up. I will film 2 seconds using that sound and type something in it of, this is an idea to use with this trending audio. This is, a way that it relates to the reptile hobby. And then I'll save it in my drafts. And then, and I have hundreds of drafts. It's actually kind of embarrassing. I have so many drafts, but that's kind of how I am able to then go and batch create content. I will spend a couple of days a week creating 10 to 12 videos, which will, is about like a week or two, or well, that's not true, about a week or so of content. And that way, by the time I go to actually film content, I can look at my drafts, see those trending sounds, and see my notes of just an idea. And then I'm able to create something a little bit on the fly because I've already done some of that trend thinking in advance. So I think that is something that has really benefited me to where when I sit down to actually go and film content, I have a drafts folder full of ideas that I can just go off of. So that's something I think is beneficial in being an observer on TikTok as well.
And how much time do you budget to social media creation?
Oh gosh, I would probably say I can probably get anywhere from 3 to 6 videos done in about an hour. And so I probably spend like 2 days a week, maybe like 3 or 4 hours just trying to make as much as I can. And, sometimes I don't use that content if, I end up not liking it or whatever. But I would probably say under 10 hours a week. It's probably like 6 to 8 hours a week, I would say, which is kind of a
So,
lot. I know.
well, what do you get back from it that justifies you spending that kind of time every week?
Honestly, the follower count. But I do think it's important not to prioritize the follower count, which it juxtaposes what I just said. But I think once you're able to gain a following, then you're able to find other ways to monetize that and other ways to make it beneficial. So, for example, now that I have, over 100,000 followers, I am able to do things like my Amazon storefront, where if somebody asks, hey, what heating, supplies do you use? What substrate do you use for your animals? All I have to do is say, go to my shopping links in my bio. Those are all of my recommended products right there for you, organized by species. I think that is a great way of doing it. And if you're a business, I actually think that the Amazon storefront is a great way to sell, like, for example, BioDude and Josh's Frogs. They have their own Amazon stores. And not only do they sell through their website, but they sell through an Amazon store as well. And I think that is a really beneficial way of doing that, because when somebody's able to click on your links, instead of going to a website that they may be unfamiliar or hesitant about, going to an Amazon storefront, everybody's familiar with Amazon. It's less intimidating to place an order really quick. Your credit card info is already in there. It's
Yep.
easy to make that conversion as a business by using that. And it's also easy to be able to categorize what you're selling on an Amazon storefront in a way that's visually pleasing to the eye for the viewer to be able to click, oh, I'm looking to shop for my leopard gecko, so I'm going to click on the leopard gecko section and things like that.
Is there anything else about TikTok that you think you'd like to communicate to people on the outside?
Oh, man.
Knocking on the door, peeking through the window,
know.
seeing if they want to come in.
I know. It's honestly, I think for a long time, TikTok had a scary reputation of it just being teenagers doing dances and being ridiculous. I have seen a huge evolution in TikTok in the last year alone. And sure, there's still the dances, there's still, the people doing that. But I also think that TikTok has started growing and getting so much bigger that there are more generations on there, and there are so many different topics that people are talking about and different categories of things on TikTok, that it's not just that one little niche that it used to be. I think it's expanded and grown so much that if you have something to talk about that people are interested in, you will find your people on there. I think that is a really good way of putting it with TikTok, is that the audience is there and the interest is there as long as you have something that is going to relate to people. You will find your people, you will find your audience there. And the same can be said for Instagram. It's just harder. I think that a TikTok algorithm makes it easier to reach people who are interested in what you're interested in.
Okay. What do you have planned for the future of Lissa's Lizards?
Yeah, I actually am very excited. I am going to be starting to work a little bit more with Amazon and posting content on my Amazon storefront, which I find very interesting from just a business perspective. Amazon is wanting to push more shoppable content to our storefronts and things like that. So that is something I'm very excited about in the future, to be able to work as an Amazon partner and help, basically help people find the things they're looking for their pets. I am very, very, very big in bioactive keeping. I think there is so much more that we can provide our animals than just the bare enclosures that we see, unfortunately, a lot. And if I want to do anything, it's to help guide people in that direction, and working with places like Amazon, who, has so many of those products available, like bioactive supplies and things like that. I think that is just helping the community as a whole increase our care standards. And I think that's something as a whole that I am really passionate about. Honestly, it's the whole reason I'm doing this, is because I want to help prioritize the animals' naturalistic environments and how much that can benefit them in their lives and that we can provide. So for me, that's something that I just want to grow, and I want to help push the hobby. I want to bring more people to what we love, and any avenue that I can do that is something that I want to strive for.
Excellent. Lissa, I want to thank you very much for coming on and giving us this introduction to TikTok. And I'm going to commit to you that I am going to get on TikTok. I am there now, but I am actually going to do TikTok. And I commit to you.
Fun.
I I know. It's just it's just
It's
getting
intimidating at first.
yeah.
It seems scary, but I promise you, once you start getting familiar with it, it becomes very second nature. And it's once you pick up on the trends and what you're doing, and it becomes fun. And that's one of the reasons I like it over Instagram, is because it's so much more genuine, it's so much more real, and you have the opportunity to, reach an audience that is not on the other platforms. So,
Well, the ironic thing is that Instagram is very easy because it is, as you say, curated. I say, okay, these are the photos, because I'm still in photos, and I can, like this morning, I just scheduled out 8 days worth of photos, and so
Yeah.
I'm able to do that. And okay, this is what's in this photo. But the thing I love most about Instagram is the interacting with people, the stories and
Yeah.
the live sessions. And so I should enjoy TikTok more, because the daily posting can be closer to the interaction that I enjoy on Instagram. So
yeah.
it should work well for me. And I definitely want to figure out a way to help a number of my Instagram friends in the community make that transition. So I'm going to do it. I'll see
I'm super
you
excited for
there. Well, we'll see how this
It's-
goes.
It's fun. It's an adjustment. I mean, definitely, I that's something else I would say to people is, try not to overcommit in the beginning. Be an observer for a while first. After you observe and kind of pick up on some of the trends, just commit to one video a day. Just one video a day. And if you can do that, and if you can, maintain that consistency, I think consistency is the number one most important thing. If you can maintain that daily post, then try to get to 2, then try to get to 3. It becomes more second nature as you get there. And so don't overcommit at first, because it is easy to get burnt out. So I think just limiting yourself to just one a day, and if you can remain consistent with that, then work your way up.
Yeah, I generally do very well for a week, and then the second week it's like it just gets feel like I'm tumbled in a wave.
I know.
All right,
But
so
it
we're going to
is-
do it.
I'm excited for you. And don't forget too, it is a snowball effect. So once you start getting comments on things, it becomes easier to do multiple posts a day, because you have comments to respond to. So
All right, Lissa, then we will see you on TikTok, and we'll see how many other people from the Reptile Entrepreneur listenership will join you there as well. So,
I'm excited.
all right, then we'll give you an update as to how it goes.
Thank you.
All right. And so we have our work cut out for us. Even if we stay on Instagram and we don't go to TikTok, we still have to deal with Reels, which are the only thing that Instagram is really pushing. And so no matter what you decide, if you want to be part of the world going forward, you have to somehow get comfortable with making short form video. Now, that doesn't mean that the short form video has to be in the exact format that you're seeing right now. Short form video is going to evolve as an art form, and so there's many ways to go about doing it. And so the field is wide open for you to define your own approach to short form video. It could be voice over a slideshow. Whatever it is, we all need to find a way to be comfortable with it. That said, I'm confident that TikTok is going to copy the features from Instagram that make it a robust business platform. And so even if Instagram is your focus, and if you've just started out, it should be your focus, it is a good idea to get yourself a TikTok account and play around with it. Get comfortable with it. Maybe take that time that Lissa suggested. Take that 7 to 9 months just enjoying the app as a viewer. Simply that act is going to get you comfortable with how things are run on TikTok. As business owners, we need to stay on top of the latest thing, and right now, that latest thing is TikTok. I'm sure 5 years from now, I'm going to be on here introducing you to whatever new social media platform is coming up then. And I'm confident that we will all be in a constant state of change as the market continuously evolves. I want to thank Lissa for joining us here. And if you'd like to see an expertly done Instagram and TikTok account, find Lissa's Lizards, Lyssa, and enjoy yourself some reptile short form video. Thank you for joining me here. This is Bill Strand signing off, and I will see you next time.